My guest here today on the phone is the former singer of the band The Misfits. Please welcome Michale Graves. Hi, Michale. How are you?
Hello. I'm doing just fine.
Perfect. At first, Michale, I want to know how the music come in your life.
How did music come into my life?
Yeah.
Well, music came into my life. It's always been in my life as far back as I can remember. Any time that I would hear music, it would have a profound effect on me. My mother always had a radio on. There was always music in my house when I was a child, and there were just certain songs and different melodies that would always just kind of jump out at me. So when I was young, I noticed the music, and then as I grew up, as children do, I found myself yearning to communicate through different mediums, but mostly and most profoundly, again, through music. For what reasons, I don't know. That's the mystery of it all. There always just seems to be, something that as an artist I'm after, and I'm not really sure exactly what it is. And music, and creating music, and composing music, and saturating myself with music comforts me and gives me a little bit of hope that I'm getting closer to it.
Michale, who inspired you?
Who inspires me? My mother inspires me. The people that I meet on tour and speak with, just ordinary people like myself that are living their lives and raising their families and trying to have a good life. The people that tell me their stories of loss and love and hope and success. It's all those people that I meet.
Yeah, your entire career is based on horror punk. Why do you use this term?
If I understand the question correctly, I'm when you listen to albums that I released, like Wanderer, Vagabond, even more like Supernatural. But Vagabond and Wanderer, when you hear those songs, I'm much more of a songwriter like that. I'm much more of a, I don't want to say pop song writer, but I sort of came into the whole horror punk thing through the Misfits. When I joined the Misfits, now you have to keep in mind that I'm a theater kid as well. I have tons of time in the theater when I was young. It was one of the things that I kept myself busy with and gained chops through is being involved in theater. So when I came into the Misfits, it was perfect for me. Now, the old Misfits, the way that Glenn wrote, it was through and directed towards horror movies and horror themes. It was unique. It was new. It was in vein of it. It was a lot like I can't remember the name of the band right now. So those songs were there. So when I came into the band, we had to resurrect that, and I had to do something that was unique and that was new. But I also had to kind of keep the formula of what Glenn, or what I was thinking that Glenn was doing. So I tweaked it a little, and what I continue to do is, when I write in that pen, if you will, is to extract the allegories and the point to the movie or the film that I'm writing through. Like, for example, I always use the example of like Godzilla. You know, Godzilla, when you extract the allegories from that, is not necessarily just on its front end a big dinosaur coming to attack a city. There's subtle hints of what nuclear energy did to the world, and the fear that a nation has of this superpower. Can we drop the atomic bombs on Japan? And so those sort of things, they manifest into the human psyche and art and music in that way. And horror entertainment has always been the leading edge of that, going all the way back to P.T. Barnum. And so I came through all of this through the Misfits, and that's why I do the horror punk stuff. I'm really not the horror movie, you know, guy that a lot of people think I am. But I do love writing music in that vein.
I know. I think that the band you talked before is Danzig.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. You can explain how you have gone in this industry, because everybody know that this industry is a kind of jungle.
Yeah, it sure is. When I first started in the industry, it was very different. It was still write a record, release a video, tour, repeat. That's gone. That industry is no more. I survived by the grace of God. I work very, very hard, and I do 100 million different things. And what I mean by that, as an artist, and I tell young artists, young musicians, that to really succeed in the industry today, you have to be diverse in your skill set. You need to know how to edit. You need to know how to run a camera. You need to know how to record music on an 8-track, on a 16-track. You need to be proficient in art and business and 100 million different things. Because gone are the days of huge budgets. You have to think, you have to raise your own capital in the beginning and get yourself to a point, just like in the old days, that makes yourself an asset to a bigger company. There's lots of exciting things happening in the independent music scene and independent arts. There's a big sea change happening. So I stay afloat, like I said again, by the grace of God, and staying as busy as I possibly can. It's hard, even on my level, and it's not very high up. It's very hard.
At your point of view, do you think the Misfits is the biggest push you have been in your career?
Are the Misfits the biggest band that I've been in?
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't the high point of my career. I owe much of my career to the Misfits. I still celebrate those songs. I still play a lot of those songs, American Psycho, Famous Monsters. I haven't abandoned any of that music in a lot of the ways Doyle and Jerry and even Chud have. They don't talk about that music, those albums, those songs, those times at all. And I am out there like I am getting ready to do now on the next tour, 85 American cities, and then Europe, and then I'll be up in Canada as well. And all the songs that people love and want to hear that are part of those days are part of the set list. Dig Up for Bones, American Psycho, on and on.
If you have to name just one song that if you don't play, one people in the room want to kill you, what is the name of the song?
That's easy. Crying on Saturday Night. Have to play that song.
Perfect.
Or I will be chased down the street.
Okay. just one last question about the Misfits. Can you explain why do you have quit the band, and sometimes do you want to be in a reunion show? I have seen that the Misfits do a reunion show with a Danzig, with the original Misfits, but sometimes do you want to play again with the Misfits just for one night, or just for a last tour, or just for another album?
Well, I'll answer your last question first.
Okay.
Of course, I would love to give the fans the opportunity to see myself, Jerry, and Doyle perform again, on a stage in Chateau. It would be an amazing thing for us to get together and play again and create again. Of course, and I'm not opposed to that at all. I never have been, and I never will be. However, it's on the backside of that is there's more complex issues at hand, which brings me to your first question about why I left the band, and that's a long story. So I'll give you the short story. It is clear by now that anybody that looks at my list of achievements, the things that I've released, music that I've made, music that I've written since I've left. If anybody's looked at what I've done and contributed to the music industry, there is no question. There's no longer any question who the number one songwriter was in the band, and that was me. I am an artist. I always have, and I always will be. I left that band because I was disrespected as a musician and as an artist. I'm not saying that as a person, as a young man in a punk rock band, I wasn't difficult to get along with. I was young. I was going 100 million miles an hour. I was a young man in a really popular band. So to complain about that is just silly. Because on the creative side of things, I knew exactly in my heart and in my soul where that band needed to go artistically and musically, and I was never made to feel that band was really mine. In the beginning, kind of, but shortly after, I was no longer a part of the soul. It was kind of like, I could just come over and play and contribute, and then everyone was like, all right, get out of here. And I was sick of hearing, if you don't like it, there's 100, people behind you that would love to be in your spot, because there may be 100, there may be 200, but that doesn't mean that they're Michale Graves, and that doesn't mean that they're special, like I am, and I know that there's nobody, obviously, that could better guide and direct that band where it needed to go creatively. And again, it's a much deeper story. There's a lot more that went into my decision to leave that band. And eventually this story will be told, and everyone will have a crystal clear understanding.
Just another question about something different. I know that you love to be implicated in politics. First, do you want to be a politician, an important politician in the future?
Oh, I do not want to be a politician. No. Nope. Never. Maybe like local, getting involved with the school board, something like that. But no, I'm not the politician type.
Next one is more tough. What do you think about how the USA is run today? That's a broad question. So I think that what's happening in America is there's a dangerous game being played, and if we don't all come together and really start to speak to each other and exchange
true information that paints a realistic picture of what is actually happening in and around us, America is going to explode into flames, and we are going to go through a civil war that has been engineered and is being brought on by powers that don't care about either side of the issue. They don't care who you are or what your politics are. They will, just like it's been in the past, over and over and over. The machine will eat us all. And so, as a musician, as an artist, as a thought leader, someone that's been involved in politics for a lot of years, I'm really trying to send that message out, a message of we need to all take a step back right now in America. And there's no voices like that in the music industry. there's no voices like mine in the punk industry. I read an article where Jello Biafra, and I have a lot of respect for Jello Biafra. However, you got someone like him out there, and even to a certain extent, Henry Rollins. Those guys are out there saying things that are inflammatory and really adding fuel to the fire and making a bad situation worse, where guys like me, guys like C.J. Ramone are going out into the world here, and we're being painted as Nazis, as homophobes, as racists, as bad people, and it's quite the opposite. It's quite the opposite.
I return now in the music world. I want to hear you about your last album, Backroads, your new DVD, I believe, and for sure the new tour, Beginning of the End. I know it's an acoustic tour.
Well, yeah, we're through Hydraulic Entertainment. We just released a short film based on that was based on the song that I wrote called "I Believe." That's on the new record. That's on Backroads, and also The World Turned Upside Down. Backroads being the acoustic record, The World Turned Upside Down being the full band record. I toured back. I did an acoustic tour for Backroads. The 85 city tour coming up in September is a full band, full monster tour. Yeah, and the set list, like I said before, will include new music as well as legacy songs from the Misfits spanning forward, including Gotham Road.
Two questions more. You have played in Quebec and Montreal before. What is your point of view of the crowd?
Oh, God, we love coming up to Canada. When we get up there and we play in your country, especially up where you're at, we always say, if everywhere could be like Canada, it'd be awesome. The crowds are fantastic, and the venues are wonderful, and we're treated treated kindly, and everybody's so enthusiastic, and it's always a great time. It's always a great time.
Just to close, tell me, what is your dream? What do you want to accomplish, or what can we wish for you, Michael? I'm not a man that wishes for big things. I'm a simple man. I just wish that I don't wish for fame, and not even necessarily for fortune. I wish for simple things, like I wish for everybody else in the world a just society, a way to pay your bills and live a life that is free of burden, and an opportunity to be with and raise my children in the way that I want to raise my children and be with them as
as much as I possibly can. That's what I'm working for. And along the way, it's a privilege to be able to make music and inspire people who at times get stuck along that path that we're all on. So you can wish something like that for me. And I'm going to wish the same for everybody else.
I wish you the best, Michael. Thank you for your time, and hope to see you play in Quebec or Montreal in 2018.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much.